In this video, we're going to simplify these three indices problems. But before we start, I need you to know this. If you have something complicated to the power of 5, you would get 5 times negative 2, that would give you negative 10, 5 times 3, 5 times 4, and so on to give you this. I need you to know this. Now let's tackle the first one. So when you look at this, 4, think of it as a block, x to the power of negative 6 as one block, all to the power of 3. So that would mean this, this is to the power of 1. So that would mean this times this, which will be 4 to the power of 3. This times this will be x to the power of 18, negative 18, because there's a negative there. So this is one block times another block. We don't really understand what it means to have a power of a negative, so we immediately jump to 1 over x to the power of 18. That's one block, and then this block here, 4 to the power of 3, happens to be 64. Now a block times a fraction, it gets multiplied to the top, so that would be 64 over x to the power of 18. So that's the first one done. Now let's simplify the second one. Second one, think of this as being one block. Think of this as being one block. So that's like a block of 5, x to the power of negative 4, all to the power of 3. And then you times a block of 9, a block of to the power of 8, all to the power of negative 2. So imagine this as being 1, because 5 to the power of 1 is 5. And then it would be this times the 1, so that would be 5 to the power of 3, x to the power of this times this would be negative 12. So think of this as one block, and then that's 9 to the power of negative 2, and then that's x to the power of negative 16. So let's think of this as being two blocks here. This block here becomes... we don't really understand what it means to have a power of a negative, so we jump to 1 over 9 to the power of the positive version. But then 9 squared is 81, so this is 81. We don't really understand what it means to have a power of a negative, so we would immediately jump to 1 over x to the power of 16. That should be a 16. Sorry, this should be a 16. So that's one block. And then this is another block. Let's look at this as one block. We don't really understand what it means to have a power of a negative 12, so we would immediately jump to 1 over x to the power of the positive version. So that's one block. 5 to the power of 3 is 1, 2, 5. Jump to your calculator if you don't know. And then this gets multiplied to the top because you're multiplying by a fraction. So that would be 1, 2, 5 over x to the power of 12. You've got two fractions, top times top, that would be 1. Bottom times bottom, that would be 81 x to the power of 16. So now you've got two blocks being multiplied together. So that would be top times top, bottom times bottom, because it's just two fractions multiplying with each other. So that will then give you... That will then give you 1, 2, 5 over bottom times bottom would be 81. X to the power of 12 times x to the power of 16. You would add the two indices. That would be 28. X to the power of 28. So this is your final answer. Okay, for the last one. Imagine this as being a block of 4, a block of x to the power of 8. So that's one block. This is another block, all to the power of whatever here. This is 1 here. So it would be this times this. That would be 4 to the power of negative 2. That's one block. And then this times this. That would then be x to the power of negative 16. So now we don't really understand what it means to have a power of a negative, so we would jump to 1 over 16. And then this thing here would be 1 over x to the power of positive 16. So now it's just two fractions. Top times top, bottom times bottom. The top times top would be 1, bottom times bottom would be 16x to the power of 16. So this is your final answer for the third one, okay?